Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. Today is the day for our project recipe mashup using the Leave Nothing Behind collection. And I apologize a little bit for my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather, but wanted to go ahead and get these recorded so I didn't get behind. So with that said, let's go ahead and do our project recipe. We have the Leave Nothing Behind collection. I pulled a few mats and our stickers that we're going to need for this project recipe. You are also going to need 2 sheets of designer paper for your base. I picked the blue topography map and the cobblestone sheet for my base. You also are going to need a sheet of hot fudge cardstock and another sheet of designer paper that we will be using both sides of. I picked this pine needle one and the bamboo, or wood panel, however you want to look at it. We're going to start with our hot fudge cardstock and our boot print decorative border punch. And we are going to punch a border and then we're going to cut it at 2 inches and then we're going to do the same thing all over again. When you use our border punches, you start punching along this line here and you can use either line, and then we're going to match up what we've punched with the template along the side of the punch. So here we go. Okay, our first one is punched. As you can see, I don't know where I put my punching mat, so I'll deal with the confetti in a minute. But I'm going to grab out my 12-inch trimmer. I'm going to go ahead and go to 2 inches here and cut this. And we'll be using that coming up. Set your trimmer aside again, and let's go ahead and do our other boot print border here. All right, all of our punching is done. Let me shake this out a little bit. Whoops. I've got an extra bit of confetti here, and these are not big enough to really do much with except for maybe a shaker card. And obviously you're welcome to save your pieces for a shaker card, but I am not today. I'm going to probably just try to keep it as simple as I can for myself and see what I can come up with later. So grab out your trimmer again. Go ahead and cut to 2 inches. Set that aside, and now we also need to cut 2 4x6 mats. So go to 4 inches on your trimmer. And I'm learning to not pull it until we're done. I'm going to pull out my ruler here because we need to cut it in half at 6 inches once we've turned it 90 degrees. So we have 2 4x6 mats. And with our other piece, it should be 4 inches. Let's double check that because I've learned, well, mine's a little bit shorter, I guess, because of my punching. And it also looks a little crooked, so I'm going to even it out. Looks like I've got 3.5 inches left. No, I'm going to do 3 3/4 maybe. Nope, I can't do 3 3/4. Looks like I do have 3.5. So let me line up at 3.5 here and get my piece straightened out. I must have punched a little bit crooked, so we'll save that for our scraps. I'm going to go ahead and turn this because we did need So mine is going to be 3.5, but it should be 4x6 and 4x4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it 6 inches first, and I will put the dimensions for the actual project recipe up on the screen for you, and not my 3.5 that I wound up with. So, and then this other, oops, sorry about that. Last piece is scrap. So go ahead and set those aside for when we get ready to put the page together. And now let's grab our other sheet of designer paper that we're going to be cutting. Okay, we need, so for mine, I need to double check which side I'm using. And I know I want my bamboo to run this way across the page. I want it to run horizontally. So when I cut, I'm going to cut it this way, vertically. And we need to cut a 1/2 inch by 12 inches first, twice. And on our trimmer, so the 1/4 inch is at the end of the mat, the 1/2 inch begins each grid area on the trimmer. So you can use either the right side or the left side to do your 1/2 inch, and we need 2 of those. There's one, and here is 2. And then we need 2 4x12s. So here's 4 inches over here. Set that aside. And then we should have 3 inches left here. Yes, we do. And we need to cut 3 3x3. And this other piece is scrap as well. So on our page, I'm going to be using this side of these because we're supposed to reverse some of our pieces. So my 1/2 inch by 12 inch is going to be the pine side, and then my 4 inches by 12 are going to be the wood panel-y side. So you'll see as it comes together. We're done with our trimmers. You can set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the left side of my page first, as usual. And here we go. Let's see, what do we need here? We're definitely going to need one of these. Going across here. We need one of our boot prints is going to be going across the top with one of our 1/2 inch by 12 pieces. And now you can see why we're using both sides. So these 3 are going to run together up here. Oh yes, we can see where I went crooked. All right, I need to straighten this one out. It looks like that's the one I went not straight on. So let me just take off a little bit here. Check my 2 inch. Yeah, I really just didn't have that lined up all the way, did I? So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off, just so that way it'll be straight on my page. And there we go. Look at that. There's the other part. Okay, but it's paper. We can always fix it, like I always say. All right, we're straight now. There we go. So that's going to go together up here. And then we have one of our 4x6 and one of our 4x4. So here's a 4x6 here, and here's a, well, it's 3.5 by 4 on mine, but 4x4 on yours is what it should be. And our 3 by 3 inch squares are going to go across up here as well. And all of these are photo mats, or you could even turn one of these maybe into a journal box as well. So we're ready to put our page together. Let me grab my tape runner. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start at the top here. And I grabbed my parchment board so that way I could go over all these little boot prints, and my repositionable tape will stay in the tape runner where it needs to. Okay. That looks pretty good. It should stick down for us. And we'll have our boot prints running across our page at the top here. Okay, so next with our 1/2 inch strip, I'm also going to go ahead and use the parchment board and the repositionable tape runner, because sometimes with these smaller pieces you tend to go off the page, and then you got to fold under where the tape runner sticks. Whoops, so we're going to place this right underneath where our boot print is running. Get this lined up with the end here. There we go. Oops. Okay. And then this one is going to go right up against here as well. This one we can use our regular tape runner on. Here we go. There we go. Okay, make sure it's lined up before you push it down. And now our 3 squares going across the top here. And that's what I was talking about with the other thing. I'm just going to fold that little square under. It went outside the line of the page. I'm going to actually get all 3 of these set up first. Just not turning my wrist fast enough here to end it towards the end, or just don't go so close to the end. There we go. Okay, so these are going to go in here, and we need to kind of space them nicely. So I kind of can use my little piece of bamboo here is almost in the right spot to line it up against a lower piece here. And you can also work on your 13 by 13 mat to help you line these up if you want. You can use your 0 centering ruler if you want. Honestly, I just like the idea of getting them on here and being able to put my pictures on and not worrying about it being perfect. So that's what I'm doing. Getting my other mats down here. And there we go. There's our first sheet, our left sheet of our page. Let me grab our right side of our page here. And I loved the starry side as well, but I really wanted to do just thought that the blue and the almost terracotta color of the cobblestones went together very nicely. And also I wanted to make sure our boot prints would show up, and this one does. Both on our cobblestone and on our blue, and I make sure that all our colors went nicely together. So I'm putting our boot prints at the bottom, our 1/2 inch by 12 inch strip above that, our 4 inch by 12 inch, that was the opposite side of the page as the pine needles here. And then we have our 2 mats left, and they both are supposed to be 4 by 6, but of course I had my measuring problem. So I have one that's a little bit more narrow, which isn't really that big of a deal. So those are going to go on top here, kind of a little bit lower on this one. So let's go ahead and place our lower pieces first, and then we'll see how our other ones go on the page. All right. And here we go. So that lined up there. Very nice. And now we're going to get our 4 inch piece done. And finally our mats. And this is going a little bit more towards the left here. And this one is just over a little bit from it, maybe with about 1/4 inch in between here or so. And then finally it has a mat that's cut into 3 parts for the side here. And I wanted to kind of check, I picked a couple of different mats to see what might work best on this page. I actually was thinking this one might be perfect. Because it'll draw in some of these other colors, or I also had this rocky looking one that I thought would bring back in the other side of our page with the cobblestones here. So let me put both of these on the camera for you. And this way, now that I was able to get my mic stand off the table, hooray! Y'all can actually see both pages at the same time. And I do like how that's drawing in these bottom, the cobblestone-y colors again, whereas I think this almost, it actually looks good too because it'll draw that in. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. And then on the actual project recipe, they have these cut independently. And so I'll probably take off a little bit from the outside. But first, let's cut it in half. Grab my trimmer. And let's go ahead and use our cutting guides to make sure that we're getting below here with just a little bit of the green on there. So I have a little more left on this other side, so it's not exactly in half. But we're going to cut, what is this, about 1/8 inch maybe? Let's see here. It's about 1/8 inch. So we're going to go ahead and cut these down. So that way there's about 1/8 inch, which our 1/8 inch runs one dotted line to the next. So maybe I should do it this way. And that way if I have my white space on the 1/8, then I know I'm cutting 1/8, right? Let's hope so. Get out my cutting guide again here from the top. Actually, I want to give it just a hair bit more. Scoot that over just a little bit. So I'm almost lining it up with the silver part that hangs down from your trimmer is where I'm lining this up at. The exterior of the white is where I lined that up. So I'm going to do that on the other side, and this will be for our cards. And I'm just going to close this and kind of scoot it over until the white disappears underneath the silver part of the trimmer. Make sure I'm even by using that bottom grid line. There we go. And let's do the same on this other side. Here we go. There, the white has already disappeared. Let me lift this up just a hair so I can get it lined up on my grid line as well to make sure I'm straight that way. Oops, here's my white. Here's my grid line. Oh, and that moved, didn't it? Yes, it did. Let me straighten myself back out and hold it with 2 fingers this time. Just take that extra little bit off. Okay. So, now we need to cut in between these. So I'm going to go ahead and also line it up on one of my grid lines to make sure I'm straight. Find my cutting guide here. I kind of want to go through the middle as best I can in between the 2 white boxes here. There's one, and you could do this with your scissors as well, but I like actually having the cutting guide and being able to line up on the grid line and get it a little more precise. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I like the idea of getting the pictures on the page, but still in all, I just kind of want this to be a little bit more precise. Okay, here we go. So we have our 3 boxes that we can just tuck in under for our journaling. And they have them pretty close on the page. So let me scoot that over. Let's scoot this down just a little. And yeah, and they have a sticker towards the top as well. So here we go. Let's get a little bit of tape on this. We'll get this in towards the bottom here. Actually, I think that was the one that didn't quite come out as straight. Maybe this one should be the top one. Okay. Here we go. Yep, that one looks like a good one for the bottom. So I'll line it up here. And we can put some journaling in these little boxes. Or in our white space, I guess I should say. And so on the project recipe, they're a little bit offset. So this one's going to go in just a little bit more. And this one will actually come back out a little bit again. But on the other one, they kind of have it going a little bit more that way. But I don't know. I just wanted it a little bit in and out a little bit more. Okay, so now let's find a couple of stickers to add to our pages, and we'll be finished up with our Leave Nothing Behind project recipe. Since we have so much blue over on this other page, we have a good bit of green. Let's add a little bit of blue down here on this side, maybe with our compass. I'm going to put our compass towards the top with a foam square under it. Actually, I'll use a couple of small foam squares. And we're going to put this up here. Whoops. Kind of over and in between our boot print here. And then we're going to put this other one with the pine trees and all the kind of looks like the national park. Actually, I should put this on foam squares too because that'll be easier for me to put my pictures in later. So that's what I'm going to do. is if it's a little bit raised, it's not touching the mats. And then that way I don't have to worry about trying to get my pictures under later. Here we go. So this is going to go down here with maybe an extra pine needle coming over and down through here with a pine cone. I think we're going to layer that one a little bit here. Add some extra interest. Oops, I got another square for my foam squares. And then in this top right, I think I'm going to put one of our sayings. How's about, I took a walk in the woods and came out taller than the trees. And we'll put this kind of just off and up here above where our little mat is, and I'm going to put it over. And what else? We've got these three. We need something, I think, over here. How's about this little branch? Coming up. There we go. All right. So that's our project recipe for Leave Nothing Behind. We don't have a ton of scraps for our cards, but it's enough. We can probably combine. I don't know if we'll combine with our Seaside or not. We're going to do Seaside for our mashup. And so we'll see if we wind up hopefully having enough to do a card with. Continuing on with our Leave Nothing Behind project recipe mashup, I now have the Seaside collection, and I have a few embellishments. I have our designer sheet we're going to be cutting. I picked this one with the seashells and this kind of shadowed seagrass. I also picked a piece of our dark sea green cardstock. I thought that was fitting for our Seaside collection. And for our project recipe for our base, I have picked these two designer sheets. This light green with kind of a green, almost clay look on the back. And then this lighter water look. It has the darker water on the back, but I liked the lighter look with this other green. So go ahead and set your base pages aside. Set your designer sheet aside, and we are going to start punching. And I've pulled out my diamond arches punch. I just liked the idea of the movement in it, and I thought it might give us maybe a water illusion on the page. We'll see. I think it's just still going to be very pretty on the page with it. Remember to line up your punches when you go. Okay, first one done. I'm going to add that to the scrap pile. I'm probably not going to keep these again. I just, with not feeling well, I'm not ready to deal with as many small scraps, I guess. We're going to go ahead and cut this at 2 inches again. Actually, we might need to cut it a little bit less. I'm going to do it at 1 3/4 because we had this extra little piece come off the top, and I really don't want to get caught short on our cardstock again. So let's do 1 3/4, and I think that's going to give us enough. Yes, enough on this bottom for our diamond arches. I was a little bit off here, but that's okay. It's still going to look pretty on our page. Let's double check here because we know we need at least 4 and 4. What's left here? Yep, right around 2 inches. Okay, so that seems to have worked out well. All right, let's go ahead and line it up and punch again. Okay, So let's go ahead and let's get our punch pieces cleaned up. All right, whoops. Even with the punching mat, I wound up with a lot of little confettis everywhere here. There we go. So now we're going to do 1 3/4 again on our trimmer. And now we're going to go ahead and do our mats, and we need 4 inches. Go ahead and turn it sideways, 90 degrees, and then do 6 inches. So we'll have 2 4x6 mats, since our cardstock is 12 inches. And then we will have our next one. Let's double check and see if we're at least closer to, well, I'm still a little bit under, aren't I? Okay, well, hopefully you all have 4 inches again. Might have needed to done 1.5 on the other, but anyways, we need a 6 inch and a 4 inch piece at our 90 degree turn here. This is our extra for our cards. And then we need to do our seashell page. And let's see here. I kind of almost want more of the gray part in my 1/2 inch strip. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Let's flip this over, put this in, and we'll do a 1/2 inch twice. There we go. And then I'm going to flip it this way because I wanted the seashells for that main part. And it doesn't really matter if we can always flip it later. We needed 4 inches twice, so 4 inches. And now turn your sheet 90 degrees, and this should be 3 inches. Yes. So turn 90 degrees, and then you need 3 3-inch squares for some smaller photos. Okay, and then this is going here. Actually, our brown and our green, that doesn't look too badly together. We can actually even do maybe for our cards. Already working on our cards. Okay, we'll figure that out later. But that's nice to know those actually might work together on a card. And we'll still be able to get at least one scrap card out of the deal here. All right, so let's start on our left side of the page. I think we're going to use our water side for our left side. These need to flip because I wanted the seashells to be the main part here. This is going to go up here. One of our 1/2 inch by 12 inch. This was a 4 inch by 12 inch out of our seashells. And then we have our diamond arches up here. And I think I'm going to actually flip it. And so it's going to come down. Let's see if I like the look of that or if I like it better this other way. Actually, I think I like it better the other way, lining the top of the page with the design, and then we'll angle those in. We know these are going to go on top of our seashell. We need one of our 4x6 mats for the bottom of the page, and we need our 4x4 for this bottom left corner here. Okay, let's go ahead and start sticking some of this down. Let me grab my parchment board and we'll start at the top again. Getting my repositionable tape runner. Here we go. And let's get our next strip taken care of. Whoops. Went a little crooked that time. This is also the benefit of using the repositionable tape is you can actually just pick it up pretty easily and maneuver it. If I wanted to, I could grab my multi-purpose tool and use it to help me reposition that, but I think I've got it there. Oops. Okay. Now flip that over. Comes in our seashells. I don't know why that looked upside down. So I'm just going to flip it. No big deal. There we go. And then our mats. And these, let's see here. How does that look? Maybe we needed to go this way. That's kind of where it looks like the design goes, but it's not that we're not going to be covering it up with pictures anyways. But it's still kind of nice to have it. So it looks nice underneath as well. There we go. We got a feel for the placement, the last project recipe here. And one more. There we go. So that's the left side of our page again, and here comes in the right side. And we're going to do the same thing. I think I'm going to run this way, so that way the design is headed towards the edge of the page. Grab your 1/2-inch strip, followed by your seashells. And then, of course, our 2 remaining mats will go up on the top of the page. So let's go ahead and get our tape going again. Uh-oh, I just put that upside down, didn't I? Hang on, this one I definitely do need the multi-purpose tool. Just to make sure I'm getting under there well. There we go. Okay. No big deal. There we go. And I easily probably could have left it going the other direction, but decided I really wanted it going this other way, so that's what I'm doing. All right. Here come in our last 2 mats. Coming down over our piece. piece a bit here. There we go. And all right, let's see what embellishments we have for these pages. Let me move my tape runners out of the way a minute. I might need one of them again. Move my parchment board. I'm gonna grab my other sheet. And here we go. Oh, it's pretty. I love the dark sea green. I think maybe we'll get our compass kind of like repeating our little compass we put on our other page. And we'll get our dolphins in that upper corner. I think my lighthouse may work as well, and we might add a couple of little pearls. Let me grab a couple of foam squares for this one. I don't have all of the embellishments. There were more in the set, but I have used several. I really liked the Seaside collection, so I've used it for other projects as well. So I'm very glad I've had a chance to highlight it here in the project recipe mashup as well. I'm going to go ahead and put foam squares under all three of our embellishments that I've pulled out here. Oops. Okay, so let's start pulling off the backs of these things. We'll put the north headed up, and I put it on the foam square so that way we can get our pictures under it easily as well. And I like the idea of the dolphins kind of playing over the side here and our lighthouse on this side of our page. Oops, it would help if I took the backings off, huh? Probably. I can tell I'm not 100% today. Here we go. All right, let's see here. Should we add a couple of pearls as well, since we have the diamond arches down here? Maybe highlight the edges of our pages a little bit here with the pearl enameled embellishments, and these are self-sticking, so all I have to do is peel it off the plastic here and stick it on the page. There we go. Let's add a little bit of highlight, and there we go. We're done. That is our project recipe mashup. We have our Seaside pages done, and I'll bring back in our Leave Nothing Behind here. Oops. There we go. Okay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed working on this project with me. I will see what kind of a scrap card I can come up with, and we'll get that done next in this video. It's now time for our card, using up our scraps from the Leave Nothing Behind project recipe. We really just had these 3" by 3" squares and a couple little strips of cardstock, along with a few odds and ends from either punching or when I was trying to straighten out the miscalculation I made in doing my brown cardstock. I've pulled out a scrap of bronze shimmer that I had left over from another project because I think I'm going to go ahead and use this as my card base. It just seems to really go well with our colors, and it helps our pieces to pop a little bit more than if I use just a regular white card base. You can see it just adds that little bit of extra something. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my base 8.5 by 5.5. Let's see here. So 5.5 by 8.5, and then we're going to score at 4.25 to create the standard card size that'll fit into a regular A2 envelope. And so I just created a couple more bronze shimmer scraps, but that's okay. Since I was already working with the scrap I had left over, let me change out to my scoring blade. Fold this back under. And so nice that all our blades can be stored with our trimmers, so we don't have to go anywhere to hunt those down. Four and a quarter. And when you're using your scoring blade, just remember not to go over it too many times, because you will eventually cut through your paper. So I just gave it enough to know I'll be able to fold it and make our card. Go ahead and set aside your 12-inch trimmer. I'm going to grab out my multi-purpose tool so I can get my fold to be a little bit more tighter here. There we go. And I am going to, whoops, you know what I forgot? Well, we'll do that at the end. It's okay. So I'm going to place my dark sea green cardstock piece at the top of the card here, followed by our hot fudge. Just kind of giving something to anchor our card on here, and I debated using one of these on the side, but I'm not sure yet. I still need to place these first. So I'm going to go ahead and place these in a diamond pattern over the front because it fits nicely, and we can use our entire pieces here. And they go well together. We got lucky. That part of our bases matched up nicely, and it works out to layer these. And I don't think this is going to work out. This was from our punching our diamond arches, and I thought maybe, but no, I like the simplicity of this. And then originally I was looking at maybe the driftwood, but that just disappears on here. But I wanted to show you just how having the little sailboat kind of disappears, but yet when I pull out this lighthouse, it really pops and becomes more vibrant. So we're going to put this lighthouse on the front of our card, and I think we're going to place it up here because I think just with the extra colors that are in this one, it really makes it pop a bit more. I'm going to add foam squares. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put some foam squares on my lighthouse embellishment. And I'm going to go ahead and, if I can get the little square parts off of my hand here. Put this here. And let's straighten that out just a little bit. Whew. It's one thing I didn't push down, thankfully. And here we go. So we have our lighthouse on, and then I did pull out some of our other embellishments because I thought maybe these coral looking ones, these orangey, might add a little extra to our corners, and it also draws out one of the colors from within the lighthouse. So I actually think I'm going to grab these 4 larger ones here, and we're going to place these on the corner of our card front. The question is, do I want to put it? No, we're going to put it over the cardstock, not the bronze shimmer. If I can get it unstuck from my finger and actually into the corner, there we go. Here we go. And here we go. So that is our card. However, usually when using these, the shimmer papers, it's hard to write on. So I also found a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to cut this down to 5 inches to place inside the interior of my card, just to make it easier for when I go to use this and want to write on it, it'll be ready to go. So pulling my trimmer back out here, going to 5 inches, and getting that lined up nicely here. And you can see where it'll just give me a nice part to write on, and it'll be framed out beautifully with the bronze shimmer and a little look intentional, which it kind of is. So, oops, there we go. Here we go. All right. So there's our scrap card from our Leave Nothing Behind project recipe mashup. I hope you all enjoyed seeing this one. I am just going to get rid of these little pieces. I don't see myself using them for anything else. And sometimes, like I said, it's okay to lose some of these little pieces, although these are kind of fun with the that we took off our mat. You kind of, well, maybe not, but you could always maybe just use it inside as a decoration if you want, or just scrap it. Sometimes it's okay to not keep every little scrap, but I definitely do try to find uses for my larger scraps, just like I did with this piece of bronze shimmer. Until next time.